Just gonna start recording it now. Hi guys.
Why don't you just take it off? Hi.
What am I taking off?
The license.
This is too long a story to bother telling. So we have 19 asks,
which is amazing. 100% amazing.
Oh my god. Do we go to the oldest? Do you have some too?
No, I'm looking at Tumblr. I'm just being distracted. What? I can be distracted. I'm looking at the gifts from last episode. They're really good. Like the one time an episode is good. It's like every 6 episodes. It's actually good. Okay, I've said it this season.
Fair warning, my children are awake because it's daytime and they do that now. But they might run through the background and
be adorable, basically.
Start dancing to get attention from the camera, basically.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's not like
for
certain things. That's true.
You met my daughter.
I know.
Let me show you every dance routine ever done.
She's really good.
She is. So we have 19 asks right now, and I expect more, especially after we post some of those one-shots.
Yes, I'm really excited about it.
By the time this video is up, we'll probably have a one-shot up.
So. Because it takes so long to post these stupid videos. It's... I've never tried it on a Chromebook, though. I don't know what's going to do. No, we haven't. Have we?
We've recorded on this every time.
No, we record on it, but we have to upload it to Google.
They don't care about this part. There was one ask which demands a flash fic, which will happen when I find time. Where someone said, "There's new photos of the model you picked as Amelia trying on clothes. I need Amelia to send them to Will." You're correct.
Yes,
that
agreed.
That needs to happen. Fitting room. I have thoughts.
She's so gorgeous. And Will is so fascinated by certain aspects.
It's fair. A lot of men are.
That's true, but Will is
well, and that's unique to her. Since we've been down that road with Will and his appreciation of women in general. That wasn't even one of the 19 questions. So, do Oliver or any of the people in Team Arrow have to deal with a Prometheus-esque figure who's intent on tearing down their lives and tearing down their legacy?
I want to say yes. Prometheus is an amazing. Just literally.
Basically.
Yes, that's exactly it. Oh my god, it
yes.
worked so well.
Not
in the same.
Yeah, not in the same way.
Not the same way. Mm-mm. Well, it can't be the same way.
Right. There's certainly someone or someones who take aim at dismantling the team, which will have significant casualties. Don't worry too much. You know the outcome. We've been over this. So
well, you've seen the future. So you know.
You can be comfortable with that.
But that doesn't mean they don't go through
bad stuff.
Horrible stuff. But it needs to happen to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So
it'll be no fun without that. For me,
it's going to be really good.
I hope so.
It's going to be really good. I think it's going to be easy.
Yeah. I do too.
It's a huge.
Well, there's some very surprising things about people that I hope to be able to bring up without as obvious a segue later in some of these questions.
I think so.
I think I can.
I think you can. Well, because it's just too huge to say anything. There's some things she will not talk about, right?
Very few, but yes.
There are some things.
We've decided that we're going to try not to go over an hour on videos, but there will be multiple videos. Also, I really hate my hair. No, I chopped it off to donate to
I think it's
kids,
really cute. What are you talking about? No, it's adorable. It looks good on you. Look at you. Don't.
It's true. But anyhow, there's going to be a couple of videos here in a few days. You guys will send more questions.
Which is amazing.
I love it.
We only got through one. Oh no, we're actually doing okay.
We're really finding it.
I know. know. That's why I just said we're doing okay.
My question is, does Beth know about the Queen family business, or is she in the dark? I mean, she must know, considering Will and Amelia adopt her after David dies, right? P.S. Can you and Bray answer this question together? I'm really looking forward to your Q&A video.
Thank you. We have a lot of fun, dude.
We do. We do.
It's a lot of fun.
Beth finds out.
Well, she has to find out. They don't. They try to protect her from it.
Will, in particular, tries to protect her from it, especially when she's younger.
Well, if he's Will. He's Will.
I don't know for sure yet, but I think we might see Bethany find out in Providence.
I feel like it's.
I do too.
It has to happen. But absolutely, they try to protect her from it.
There are some important points there we can't get into really yet, but Beth does find out about it. She has and develops some stronger opinions about it and what it means to her for a couple of reasons.
Mm-hmm. Well, based on what she's gone through, she's been through her own version of hell quite a few times.
She loses a lot of people.
And it's hard to know that people are, oh my God, they're hard. They just hang out right there.
Are all over the place.
They're
as
so
common as
cute.
they're deer as common as squirrels in the neighborhood.
They're so cute. Oh, my dog would go batshit crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, Beth's lost a lot of people. She's had a lot of trauma in her life, and she's a smart kid. She's well aware of the risk that goes along with Team Arrow. Even if Will's not out there wearing a mask, that's not.
Well, and it's not just Will; it's the rest of the family too. Plus, they grew up in a world where the Arrow is very prominent, and the team is prominent. It's not like on the show where they keep going back and back and back and making the whole vigilante thing this huge big deal.
It's not like on the show.
It's not like on the show. So everybody's very aware of the Arrow and what his team does. So when she finds out and how much more involved and how it's also really fine to her family too. And it's not.
Beth understands the necessity of lies. She's someone who appreciates a lie. Don't think she appreciates them toward her, even when they're necessary. She's a Slytherin.
She does not need it at all. Yeah. It won't go well. I mean, we know it doesn't.
How could it?
But
I think losing her dad is going to refine her opinion on everything, especially when Will and Amelia do take her in, which is a huge factor in all of their lives, and also a no-brainer. Like, Will was never gonna make any other choice. It's a gimme to him.
Yeah.
And I think it is to Beth too. She is well aware that she has someone still, because they have that kind of relationship.
Well, and then you put that into a situation where she finds out he might not be out in the field. Him being a firefighter is already dangerous enough. On top of that, she finds out how very involved the family is, and Will in his own way, and other people. So it's hard.
It is. And you're going to see something with Beth's reaction to, or at least a reference to Will's job and the danger inherent in that, coming up in one of the one-shots that's already drafted and is with the betas now and should be out in the next couple of days. The Jules Mallet.
It's a great one. Oh, look.
Oh,
hey.
Lizzie's editing right now.
Brilliant.
You, Lizzie.
Oh, it's so good, you guys.
This next question made me laugh really freaking hard, like out loud, for real. After the latest Tempest chapter, I have one question. When is Will going to get a new sofa?
That's a good question. Oh, stubborn Will.
Oh my God. It's kind of a running joke at this point, and the one fluffy AU really long thing that I haven't put up anywhere to comment about his sofa and how Amelia can replace whatever furniture she doesn't like or whatever, and the sofa comes up. He's like, it was kind of crappy, and I was thinking of changing it out anyhow. Like he's rambling, trying to make her comfortable because he's nervous when she moves in. I will eventually link that somewhere. I don't know that I'll post anywhere because it's plotless, and it's also kind of hyper speed for relationship development because I wanted to. But it's not a story. It's not. No. It's not literary. It's not.
It's a funny thing that will. Yeah.
I loved doing it, and I might play with it more still one of these days. I don't know. It's super fluffy here. Now there are scenes from it that I will absolutely snag and use again. There's a dream sequence Amelia has that was really visceral and fantastic. There were some scenes with her and Bethany that really showed early foundation of the relationship and how that developed. Had some lines I really liked. Sometimes these things you just go where your brain takes you and you pull what parts work and ditch the rest.
Yep. So that's the sad part of writing, but it's also the best part because you get such a.
Also, in that thing, at the start of it, she's still engaged to Thad and she breaks it off. She can't get the ring off her finger, and Will drags it off with his teeth. It's one of the hottest things I've written in a really long time. I love it.
And it's funny I'm saying this next, but it's so fluffy, okay?
Yes.
It's so fluffy. It's just pure happiness. But it might tell you what's coming up.
I needed to counterbalance some things with them because I couldn't stop crying.
It's worth it, guys. It's really worth it.
It is worth it. We'll talk more about that later. And we'll talk more about some of our plans later after we're both more awake and discuss.
And we haven't talked about anything yet.
Not much. Just are we doing that? Yeah, that's about it. In canon, when does Will get a new sofa? Jules is 100% sending one to him.
Oh yeah,
probably right away.
Take care of it.
She's not going to put up with that.
I would no. And if I want to put up with it, Jules definitely would not put up with it.
She'll get Bethany to help her.
That's cute.
She'll be like, Beth, I need you to take some measurements because Will's going to figure out what's up if I do it. And Beth is like I'm on it. I'm tired of that spring.
Will's such a stubborn ass sometimes. You can use the sofa as
kindling.
Yeah.
You haven't heard this one yet, and you're going to love it. So, no, you are.
Okay.
I just read the POA chapter with Nate and Cammie, and before I even remembered Penny, I just appreciated so much that it was written like she's not a great person, but Nate had a role in letting it get out of hand and build up in his head, and make sure to be polite and respectful and get her home. And he and Penny will be fine, remembering the asks from forever ago about consent and power abuse in their relationship. Oh, yes. Because you've canonically, I don't know how to say that, shown Nate to be caring and good even when it is with someone he doesn't love.
Yes. What an amazing act. Yes, amazing.
It was part of the point of that one, and that was eons ago.
Yeah. Well, that's a core part of Nate's character. The hard part about the Nate Penny stuff is we haven't seen a lot of adult Nate. And the stuff that we have seen of him as a younger is not geared towards anything romantic.
Very little of it.
So it was quite a jump, and I know it was very alarming for some people. And I don't believe it. Like,
but he's supposed to be dragging around a teddy bear. What's going on?
Like, what is he doing to her? It's all very. There is a design behind it. Unfortunately, you're seeing parts of it that don't really talk about that very much. Which actually, we're writing a few things. We're trying to avoid writing stuff early in the relationship with Nate and Penny because it gives away too much of their story.
I go for the emotional gut punch, and
it reveals too much. So there's a design, and that's exactly a wonderful thing to glean from that. That's amazing.
That's great. High five for you.
Thank you. I keep high fiving.
Just don't knock into the screen. Why do I keep coughing?
You're really far away.
Am I far? Sort of a weird question, but does Jules have any friends, like a bestie or other women she hangs out with? I know she has her employee at work. Sorry, I'm blanking on his name. It's Martin. But anybody else, I feel like we never see of her having friends. I know she's very private and a bit of a loner, but it seems a little odd to me that she doesn't have anyone else in her life like that. So we had an ask like that, God, like 2 years ago now. It's basically asking the same thing, and she does have some friends who are mentioned, not often. So she had a really toxic friendship with a couple girls in high school, um, which you probably remember from when she drove by. Um, Katie was that one. And she does have Martin and his husband, they're friends. And there's references every now and then, not often, to her still being in contact with the girls she danced with. So there's that. There, she has another friendship coming up, which is going to be more important than any of those that I haven't written yet, which is sort of foreshadowed in Monday's chapter. It's Javi's big sister, Maria Rosa, who does not live in Starling, but I think she's probably going to come back to Starling, and they actually get to be pretty close later down the line. I think that's part of how she learned Spanish is with Maria Rosa, and she kind of has the same snarky personality, and there's something with them in my head. She's pretty established in my head somehow, even though I've never written her, but they click.
Well, she has parts of her that complement Jules so well.
Yeah.
She's like the big sister that Jules doesn't have. In a weird way, is how I view it.
That's fair. There's more stuff about her on. Is it on Monday? It is on Monday.
No, it's Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you haven't even seen her reference yet.
Great.
It is a great chapter. I should forewarn there's going to be a trigger warning on it for panic attack, which is done fairly authentically, I'm told. So be forewarned of that. It'll also be on the chapter that there's a warning. I think that's the only warning on it, though.
On that one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That one, yeah, I think so.
There will be other trigger warnings in the next couple chapters.
But not
that one. Okay.
So yes, she does have other friends.
Yeah.
It's just her.
The nature of the story doesn't pull them into it because she is fairly private, and she does a lot of solitary activities like painting.
Even dancing to a degree.
And
everything's been designed where she's. Well, yeah, but still, it's she's internal a lot of it, which, judging by everything that she's gone through, is kind of understandable.
I think that was by design. I think that's part of why she liked it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And it makes sense as things progress, especially for an Alex, and she starts opening herself up emotionally and mentally, even she starts welcoming more people in her life.
She does, and more people for them as a couple who they connect with. And as part of the community, Alex is really rooted in his immediate community. He lives like a block away from his mom in one direction, Javi in another. He's on first name basis with his next door neighbor we see a couple times. So he's really rooted in all of that. And if she's going to be, and she is, a really integral part of his life, it kind of invites her into that too.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's nice because it opens up a part of her that she didn't entertain in the past at all.
It gives her a different
it was
type
for
of
a different reason,
a
different drive. So opening, really, Alex is the key to so much.
Yes.
And letting him into her life, the way it opens her up in so many beautiful ways.
It does. This one is from 10 Years Before the Flood. God, that chapter was stunningly perfect in every way, and I love it to death. Yay for secrets out in the open and hot, sexy times. Actual sex next time, pretty please. And Juliek's happiness. Slightly concerned about the fact that it seems that Will still does not know, though. It's clearly high time that Alex puts in an appearance at Sunday dinner. On a separate note, I read your Providence spoilers, and I'm beyond excited to have more Amelia in my life. Thank you times 100. Thank you. I'm so glad you're excited for it. It's so going to be good.
The more we talk about it,
I can't believe we're actually doing this.
it's
No, I know it is, but just that whole plot line when it first came up, I was like, that would be crazy if we did that.
Yeah, there's just these little spots that are. It's like the whole reason I want to write the story is just for those little tiny things, and it all spirals out. It's really good.
There's so many good
character things. Like the romance is super important, and it's a huge reason, but it's the character moments. Oh,
there's a lot of depth and growth, and
so excited. Like to
really, there are a lot of things to dig into with Will that we've only touched the surface with for him.
Barely touched.
He has made his life so much about all the people around him that it's to his own detriment. And he doesn't really see it, or maybe is actively hiding it from himself. And we're going to see him really have to face things that he hasn't before and come to terms with feelings that he has tried really hard to not even acknowledge, much less deal with.
Which all good relationships, especially in fiction, force you to do.
Yeah.
And that's what Amelia does for him. She
very consciously.
Digs in. Oh, yes.
Very
consciously. That's part of the really awesome part.
That's part of what shifting the storyline around with Will and Amelia did for us, too. It gave us an opening with her to bring her back into his life, maybe before they were both fully settled, and really let her take ownership of some of what she did that was wrong and recognize how it affected him, and that even if maybe it was the right choice for them not to be together most of that time, she went about it in a really cowardly kind of way.
Yeah, and it came off very selfish.
And seeing her recognize that and question what that means for where they can even go, or where she should feel entitled to go with their relationship, is going to be a really interesting process.
And at the same time, I know there's so much to start. It's like growing so fast and incredibly.
It needed to,
but it really did, and it did too, which was nice. So the shifting it around actually helped it so much. Because there's a lot of stuff that she goes through, which aids how she approaches Will and what she sees him going through and how she thinks she can help. Now, whether it works right away, it fixes it. I mean, that obviously.
We are also talking about to what extent and when Moira is involved in the story. All I'll say at this point for certain is that she will be a part of the story.
Well, yeah, she has to be.
She has to be.
Especially when things happen.
It's close to a spoiler as you get from Brig. Maybe, or maybe she accidentally gives something away here.
Probably shouldn't drink that wine.
It was only the first bottle. What are you talking about? Also, almost positive it would be weird if we didn't see Bethany in there. She's got to be in there somewhere. And the advantage of these long-standing relationships that are well established between everyone in the non-romantic sense is that we already know the context for how some of them are going to be reflected when Amelia re-enters their lives. You think about it at all, you know Jules' reaction already. And that's going to be delightful. Probably a little less clear on how Nate's take is on it, and maybe Ellie's.
They've been a little more removed.
They have been a little more removed. They're not going to be anymore, especially Ellie.
I think their reactions will be to something different. That's just all.
That's all. That's all I'm saying there. As far as the earlier part of this, I'm so glad you liked the chapter. Do it. Hope you liked my $4 bottle of wine.
It's so much. Like, this is just such a cute label, though. For $4, you want it just
maybe it was $5.
You
can't see it.
Yeah, you can right there.
Oh, it's Aldi's. It's just Aldi's wine.
It's just a cute little owl.
Wait till you see the wine we drink. Probably next video.
Which one?
The one I bought. For reasons.
Good reasons.
Yeah. Anyhow, the next time we have Jules and Alex in a physically intimate situation, you're gonna get what you want.
For $4, this isn't bad.
I'm saying.
It's like it's actually pretty good.
So yes, you will get the actual sex.
It's quite wonderful too.
It is. It is. Slightly concerned that Will doesn't know about it though. He's gonna find out on Monday.
Yep.
And I haven't written a Sunday dinner. There should be a reference to one in the epilogue. Maybe it's on a Sunday. I'm not done with the epilogue.
That's actually a really good idea.
I know.
And it could just segue
all the
into
other things happening.
Sunday. Yeah.
To talk about just inclusion in family and how that gets
already
wrapped up.
there.
Exactly. Okay. We'll talk more about that later, but yes.
I just, I really love Alex.
He's a little too perfect. He's fabulous.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah. But you're right. And if I have one regret about Tempest, it's that I didn't give him more of a journey through it.
But it was it's almost.
It works in fanfic ways.
Exactly. It's a textbook. It's a textbook.
Well, because it's really, it's less formulaic in terms of romance novel and more Jules's journey to where he is, which I think also works because he's on the other side of that grief.
He
as
is.
much as one can get.
He is. No, he has little moments. There are little bits and pieces where you see that there's a little bit more going on there.
I would be surprised if we didn't discover more going forward.
I think we will.
Especially in the third story. God, there's so much in the third story. Good Lord.
It's going to be really awesome. It's like, we actually talked about this so long ago. How it's, I don't even do spoilers because I'm awful at them.
Right.
Which is why I just shut up. The third story, great.
So the one after Providence, which doesn't have a name yet, it is
Much
probably the most Arrow-like of all of them.
It involves a lot more of the characters versus a couple.
A lot more drama, a lot more plots, a lot more violence, a lot more dramatic character changes.
Yes. I was going to say intense growth and breakdowns.
Growth is, I was going to say growth is an interesting word choice there.
It depends on who you're talking about.
It's true. And you will have,
because there's little tiny hints in Tempest, and there will be in Providence too, of what is coming up.
So tiny. But there's a thread. I'm so excited about that thread being there.
It's so exciting.
Oh my God. They're all linked together, guys.
Yeah.
If you really, once you're done, if you step back, once
get 'em.
the first three stories, not counting Vicon, I mean Tempest, Providence, and whatever the next one is called. If you look at those just as a unit before the Book Queen one, with hindsight, you're going to go, oh my God, that's where this was introduced. And that's part of this other thing.
Well, and the nice thing too is Vicon was a catalyst in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, not just like the generic sense, but you will look back and you're like, oh.
There are some very significant, no, I think it's inevitable. I think all of our readers are smart enough to get that. Everyone who's still with us. The stupid ones on left.
You amazing one.
You're all brilliant. It's everyone else who, Let me tell you, some of the stuff you people catch
is shocking.
Like, why did you pick up on that?
No, it's shocking.
That was a thought in my head. I didn't mean for it to get in there at all. God, the Sam stuff? These people.
I know.
It's just,
guys are
it's a problem.
very,
it's a
very,
big problem.
very, what's the word I'm trying to think of? What's
intuitive.
Intuitive? Is that? That's an R word.
I don't know. I thought intuitive was the right word.
Intuitive is a good word. There. Oh, that's gonna bug me. Okay. I don't know. Okay. It's an R word. It's like what?
Mm-hmm. R word. She'll think of it and tell you tomorrow. So I find, this is from BBOlicity. So I finally got to read chapter 20, and wow, I'm glad Jules isn't separating parts of her life anymore, especially since Alex wants to be a part uh, and of both and loves both parts of her life. And I also love how supportive Oliver is. Also, I saw that Will is going to find out about them in the next chapter. Just curious, is it going to be at Wednesday dinner? Or is it after Sunday dinner that they train and do self defense? I can't remember. Anyway, I think it would be a little funny if it was. They train after Sunday dinners. It would be awesome if that's how he found out. It's not how he finds out. It's a little more. Uh huh. Yeah, it's not.
I just really love Alex.
I do too, and so does Lizzie. Per those comments.
She's right.
Good. Sure. That's coming up soon. Okay. Guys, that's a good one shot. It's good one shot. Pure. It is really.
Sometimes you just gotta have like balls to the walls, nut.
It's one of the Remember Sarah Diggle Drive winners requested Alex in his uniform while Jules is pregnant. Dirty Snuts. Mm-hmm. So I asked also about preference for posting with Providence and going forward. And Tumblr was unanimous with either wanting it weekly or leaving it up to whatever's easier for me. Like a frog in my throat. I don't know.
It's because you're talking so much. You're
Maybe.
like reading this entire thing. I bet
Reading
that's
out-
it.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm saying that's probably why you're coughing so much.
Maybe.
You need, like,
Do you want to cough?
no. Do I want to cough?
Anyhow.
No, I don't want to cough.
Tumblr was unanimous with wanting weekly. Twitter was about 50% out of the 4 options. So I think we're probably going to stick with weekly for a couple of different reasons, not the least of which is you guys. Thank you for the input. It means a lot.
As far as structure with posting, I think it is the best option.
Well, when you're dealing with original characters like this, there is a shelf life where people will pay attention in fan fiction more so than in original stories, especially since it's tied into interest from a TV show. Now, I think I have more loyal readers. We have more loyal readers than most.
Well, and a
Because
lot
you
of
guys
that
have
is
stuck with
because
us for years.
a lot of that is because of the consistency, and
Right.
that's all.
Yeah,
Janice.
that's me.
She,
I'm not gonna lie.
every single week, if it was up to me, who's looking at Blood Hands? No,
I
would
am
lose
looking
everybody.
at Blood
Oh,
Hands.
shut up.
I want to read Blood Hands. Finish it.
I know it's getting really good. I'm like,
You gotta
I'm
be
finally I know.
almost done.
I'm not almost done
It's
with it.
been years.
But to be fair, there was FICON,
Mhm.
and then I went through this really weird funk, which
I
actually
know.
had a lot to do with co-writing. Yeah, I got it in my head. Oh yeah, it wasn't a bad thing. It was on me. I have so much self-doubt.
You're the better half of us. I might be more consistent, but you're the better writer.
Yeah, but then on the flip side, I struggle with my voices in my head.
We're writers, of course we do.
Yeah, but mine are really loud. Really loud.
they
I'm
scream
very
at me
susceptible
sometimes.
to them.
I've been trying to write other ships, and then like Will and Amelia are screaming at me, and I'm like, great, but wait your turn.
Do they listen?
No. Especially when she keeps posting pictures on her Instagram where I'm like, I was paying attention to this one.
Yeah, he is.
Those are some interesting. Okay.
Great pictures. Like my mind just goes right there, and
She's ridiculous.
like the best way possible.
Where?
I don't blame Will at all.
Mm-mm.
I would be up in that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry, we're jumping way ahead.
As soon as they're on the same page, anyhow.
You know, the nice thing about their story is that they do, because of their history, they don't. It's not as dragged out like with Jules and Alex.
It's not the same vibe at all.
No, they have totally different because they have so much history together and they have that to build on and to keep moving forward.
They're sleeping together earlier in the story for
Yeah,
sure.
earlier, yeah. Because a lot of their stuff is relationship stuff.
But they have a lot of messy stuff even after that starts.
Oh no, a lot of it is because of the fact that they
Yeah.
jump into it.
Yeah.
which is all the better why it's shifted.
Will, I swear to God.
I know, I love him so much.
I love him so much.
Like,
I
the
love
more I
both of
think
them.
about it, this is, wow, my God, you're right. He's a wonderful character. He's
I
got
love
so
him.
much meat to him. Oh, I can't wait. So much
Take a
good
bite
stuff.
out of that. Someone, please, PLSMOI, which I read as please moi. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but okay. Asked if Providence is for after Sylvia is born. I'm asking because I'm wondering if we get to see Julix as expectant parents. I can imagine that Alex might be a bit ridiculous. He is ridiculous. Providence is well before Sylvia is born. So is the third sequel. But you're going to get one shots while she's pregnant, including when he finds out that she's pregnant, which is already written. That's dirty too. You need not dirty stuff.
That was written a while.
That was the first time I wrote them together.
It was.
That was the first thing I wrote of them together. Was
Oh my
her.
God. And that's when you like really felt their passion. Ooh, that's a
Yep, right on top of that kitchen table. You felt that real well. I love that scene.
I just love when she speaks Spanish.
He does too.
I don't.
That's because she did it for him.
I know,
And
that's
for
what makes
them,
it better.
Really, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Well, it's
yes,
yeah.
It's a measure of how important their relationship and he are to her.
Yes, exactly. Which is huge for Jules.
Yes,
Huge.
because she's
That she's
someone
doing that.
who acts more than speaks.
Oh,
like
yeah.
she'll say whatever, but
In that
if it
regard, she's
means
very
something to her, she's
Oliver.
gonna act. Yeah,
Very Oliver in that regard.
Yes,
Yeah.
very true. So yeah, you will get to see Jules and Alex as expectant parents. Alex is ridiculous. You are correct. But Providence is well before that.
Mhm.
It's before they're married. It's about a year after Tempest, and it's gonna take place over a couple of months, probably 4 to 6 months. Did we say?
I think so.
About 6 months. And then the third sequel picks up almost immediately after Providence, like a month later, I think. So there's a lot changing. And when we get to that third sequel, you have Jules and Alex together, you have Will and Amelia together. So you've got these established couples already as a part of this world. You have Nate as a young adult. You have, sorry, I have children. You have Ellie and all of her drama. You probably have Bethany, but not yet living with Will and Amelia. Her dad's still around. I imagine that she would have to work into that storyline somehow. No, I'm thinking about it. I've never heard of it. Yeah. With everything that happens, there's no way that's not an issue.
No, I think so. She does have to come into it at some point.
Yeah. And we will surely see Moira.
Oh, absolutely. Especially second one and third. No, she's.
Can we play the game?
You know what? We're doing a video talking about our writing right now. So can you give us a little bit of time?
We have a third head.
Wow.
Oh,
I knew this was going to happen sooner or
It
later.
was. It's inevitable.
It's
at this point.
Yeah. Let's skim to the kid friendly.
That's a really good idea.
So, fun question for you and Bree. If you could each pick any Ficon character to bring to life, who would it be? This is almost a kid friendly question.
Wait,
This is not a kid-friendly sit.
Janice, this is not. I have important questions to follow up to this
Is there
question.
any time travel people in there?
Lots of time travel.
Tons.
Tell me.
Ellie. Of who you'd bring to life, Ava?
I would say
Felicity's
Ellie
a great
because
choice.
she sounds like an elephant.
Oh my gosh. I love you, bud.
Why is that funny?
You just did.
The
It's
elephant-
awesome. Because it's awesome.
Her elephant
great.
is named Ellie. That's why.
That's true. That's true.
Yep.
You're right. That's
Yep.
where you got that from.
Yeah. Oh. Ellie the elephant.
So you'd bring Felicity to life? Yeah. Ava? That's an excellent choice. Felicity's a great choice.
She's smart.
She is. She's a literal ball of sunshine.
I think she is a.
Ball of sunshine.
I think she is a real Felicity, if you know what I mean. Felicity's just a name. It's not anything else.
Okay, so I don't know if I should say my real answer. Because mine's a little snarky.
Is it?
It's super snarky. I would bring Vicomte Oliver to life because he could easily get past security and go have a chat with her already. So that's a possibility.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I do.
That's a good answer. Imagine fixing everything.
Fix season 6. Here's
In the
how.
camera, I'm pointing at her right now, but it looks like I'm pointing at her instead.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of
Crazy camera. Yep.
I'm sorry.
No, Ava's a great dancer.
Mhm.
She's just showing some of her moves.
Okay, guys, no.
Okay.
I think go get some water. You too, Beth.
I want a photo.
No, thank you. No more photobombing. Seriously, dude. Go put on clothing.
Aren't you cold? I guess it's hot.
My child.
You describe Sean and say he's so Sean.
It's the most Sean ever Sean.
Sean.
Absent my choice of Oliver, my follow-up questions would be, do I get to pick what age they are? Am I still me? And am I single? Because these are important
Those are
questions.
literally my follow-up questions because my mind immediately jumped to very certain
Detailed.
aspects
Yeah.
of that we have written,
I mean,
and
we've both done the MFA
No.
a couple of times here.
so it's
So what's your
Yes.
ultimate?
okay. See, this is hard though. This is really hard because my mind goes to what is the focus right now, and I'm still on focus.
Alex is up there.
But
I want to say Nate too. Or Nate, no.
what?
I love Will, but
Willow's.
I have to say Nate.
I have to say no. Yes.
That's great too, but Nate.
No, he is.
Adult Nate, let's be clear. I don't need another kid carrying around a teddy bear.
No, adult Nate
I have
is.
two. Sorry. I'm really going gray.
It's so-
Good lord.
It's the lighting.
No, but also, okay.
I can tell.
I sort of like it.
I like it too. Especially when it's short like that. It looks
I
good.
pull off the quirky artist person. Like I'm a recluse. It's
Yeah.
fine. And I can go out in my slippers and my pajamas to get the mail, and everyone goes, "Oh, she's a writer," and it's fine.
That's normal.
It's totally understandable. It just
Usually
makes
back
me
in
eccentric.
Portland. Yeah, there you go. Oh, I'm so excited to go home.
Yes, take me home.
I know. You're almost there. Almost there. I know it was hard finding here. Yeah. Almost.
So we are both agreed on Nate then.
Nate. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Bam.
And my God, talk about an iceberg. There's just so little. There's so much to him in his story, in Penny's story. But also
He has
just
no
Nate in
clue there's
general.
anything beneath the surface of the water either,
No,
which is
not
really the
until-
fascinating thing with him.
Exactly, which is why every time we write stuff early in the relationship, it can't be posted. I mean, it could be, but it takes away from the power of the story.
I
It
keep
really
writing things, and I'm like, this is great. And she's like, it is. You can't give it to
No,
anyone.
you can't. No, she can't.
It was spot on, though, wasn't
It was good, which is
I
also
was
why
like,
you could not
yes,
post
I
that.
know.
So there's one in the future if I just finish writing it.
You need to.
I know.
because
I'm like
Mare
halfway
deserves
done.
her story.
I finally got to the good part.
Good
a
part.
lot
Not the
of-
good part of the one I can't post. I need to finish it because Mare already has the link because it was for her.
You gave it to her before it's finished?
Yep. Some people like watching you do work.
I hate that, and you know it. She doesn't mind it. I hate it. I'm so
I
weird.
pretend I'm not in the dock when you're working. It's okay. I do. I follow along and I'm like, but you paused for 43 minutes
Because I'm
now.
at work.
I know, stupid work.
I just stopped in the middle of a sentence. Yeah. Ugh, work's a jerk.
This is a good question. Are we ready for another
I
question?
think so.
I have a couple of questions. First is, after everything has changed in Will and Amelia's story, are we still going to see Will finding out what Moira told Amelia? Yes, it's already written. It comes up in a one shot. that will be posted after Tempest but before Providence, but it takes place actually before Tempest. So there are, I would argue, 4 one shots that really have to do with Will and Amelia that will be posted after Tempest and before Providence to show you where they're at. They're all varying degrees of incredibly painful.
A lot of stuff
I'm sorry.
did change though.
No one
in
hurt more than me.
Such a good way though. It's
Yeah.
such a good way.
I agree.
It had to happen.
It did.
With those two.
It did. There's actually 2 different parts to 2 of the 4 that deal with Will finding out what Moira did. First, he finds out some things from Amelia, and then we get the confrontation between Will and Moira, which has some significant impact for the whole family. So you'll get to see that.
She's very Moira.
She is the worst parts of herself.
She can't escape the consequences of it forever.
But she'd sure like to.
Oh, of course she would. It's also
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but before, I think you said that Nate doesn't really hold anything against Moira for keeping Will a secret from their dad. After Nate becomes a father, does he see things differently? I think he sees things differently before that, in part because he takes his cues from everyone around him and from his family.
Yeah.
And there are things Moira's done that you don't even know yet that will affect everyone. And Oliver reacts in a very specific way that I think Nate will mostly go along with. Maybe not even more than go along with, but not really quite ascribe to. Like he's in that vein, but he's not as extreme as Oliver.
The thing about Nate is he's forging his own path. So a lot of the whole Queen family, everything that Oliver and Felicity have built, has been around the team in a lot of ways. A lot of who everybody identifies himself as is because of the team and what Oliver and Felicity have done. Nate is different, and that doesn't just apply to team aspects.
There's irony in that he's forging his own path with individuality by taking up the family business as opposed to the family business. Yeah. He's kind of going back a generation. He is more linked into what Moira had wanted for Oliver and what Robert had wanted for Oliver. I think I think he fulfills a lot of what their dreams for him had been.
Oh, absolutely. He is exactly what they wanted already.
Well, maybe not the penny stuff. But I feel like Robert would have understood that.
I think he would have understood that.
Robert definitely would have understood that.
And it makes sense with who Nate is as a person.
And after he does become a father, yeah, I think that does change his perspective. It changes your perspective on a lot of things.
Well, it's like any experience that you experience for the first time yourself. There's empathy, but then there's the actual experience, which is totally different.
Yeah.
So it does change his perspective.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And he loves being a dad. He loves his kids. He doesn't revolve around them to the same degree that Will and Amelia do around their boys for necessary reasons, honestly.
So Nate's much more aware of having his own time. And Penny, same thing with Penny, which is healthy, which is good.
To a degree, yeah.
We're
making great time.
We are.
Send more asks.
We're like really efficient.
Yeah, all right. I don't know what else you can possibly ask us at this point, but I'm sure you'll come up with something.
Yeah, please do.
Next one. I want to ask about Alex's relationship with both Ellie and Nate, and Will's with Celeste and Maggie.
Wow. Okay.
I love this ask.
There's just so much out there.
Well, here's one thing to consider, though. Jules is like 7 years older than Nate, right? Alex is 10 years older than Jules. So Alex is 17 years older than Nate. That's a big age gap.
Incredibly different people.
Wildly different people. Alex has a whole lot more in common with Oliver than he ever will with Nate.
Oh, yeah.
That said, Jules is a common denominator. Jules obviously means a lot to Nate. Nate saved her life. that means a ton to Alex. So, I mean, is he his brother-in-law? Yes. Are they gonna go catch a game together? No. But I think they like each other a great deal and they get along just fine, even though they're very different people.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Yeah, they get along for sure. Um, I would be more interested in Alex Ellie relationship than I would be in
The
Alex
team
Nate
element, yeah.
relationship. Because Ellie has a lot to work through.
I think that Alex and Ellie's relationship will shift a great deal through the course of the third story.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Well, what happens in Tempest with Alex joining the team? And he is, I think there's a different element to him joining later versus growing up in the team and having that always be around and kind of a gimme, as it were. And here's Alex, who's joining for his own reasons. I think it's a totally different perspective that Ellie can benefit from.
She could if she let herself.
That's the problem.
There's also, keep in mind, Alex is co-workers with Sarah and team members with Sarah. And Sarah is quite a crux in the team as far as Ellie's relationships with people go, for better or worse.
And he also,
there's a lot to be said for Alex and Ellie's relationship.
So much to be said, especially in bringing the Sarah element. Because they've been friends long before even Jules was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. That's something that has to be specifically answered in the storyline.
But I like where your head's at a lot, actually.
It's important. It's incredibly important.
I think it's going to grow in importance as we go too, especially through the course of that story, because there's so much.
We're opening cans of worms left and right.
I want to say things, but I can't say things because then I'm saying things. I can't say things.
Don't.
I'm trying really hard. I've been so good.
You have been really
said
good.
more than me.
But not specifics. Okay, maybe a little bit.
You might catch it when you rewatch.
Uh-oh. Crap, have I really?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yes. Will's relationship with Celeste and Maggie. I don't see any way that we avoid pulling them into Providence somehow. I mean, Celeste is kind of Team Will. She always has been. She's flighty. She's go with your hearts, and she's been through 24 jobs and 4 boyfriends. She lives in different cities. She quits a career and takes a new one because it seems like fun at the time. I think that Will appeals to her, especially for Amelia, because she is so opposite from Amelia.
Mm-hmm.
Maggie is a little bit more middle of the road. She's got some practicality to her that Celeste doesn't have. She wants Amelia to be happy, whatever that means, but I don't think she's quite convinced that Will can have the staying power to be the support structure and a long-term positive relationship.
Well, I think as much as Amelia learns about herself, Maggie also learns a lot too.
Right.
Because that's the wonderful thing about Celeste is that she's much more take it as it is. Like you go, you want to go with the flow, you accept what changes and what happens, not necessarily finding a foundation or trying to build a foundation of what you think should be happening. Because what you think you need and what you actually need are incredibly different things a lot of the time.
And that is something that Amelia needs to recognize 5 years ago.
So long ago. She's her own worst enemy. She has people who fuel the flames, but she's
and some of that is her own fault. Some of it's circumstance, and some of it is.
Well, she's a perfect storm for that exact thing.
Some of it is very much the fault of others around her.
Yeah,
we'll see that.
Take advantage of.
We'll see that.
Things. I'm really bad.
You're so bad today. What's to do with you?
I don't know what's happening.
But Will, for his part, likes both Celeste and Maggie, and more than that, once he recognizes more of what Amelia's gone through in the past couple of years, where he hasn't been in contact with her, he's going to be, I think, really incredibly grateful, and they're going to get a lot of goodwill from him just because they've stuck by her and because they've been the biggest steadying force in her life other than her mom.
Mm-hmm.
They're consistent, and they've been there since college. They're her people, and he loves them for that, even if he doesn't love them as people. Yeah, he likes them. Okay, they're fine, but he loves the effect they have on Amelia. Good time for one. This one, yes, because we sort of Lalawo1, Lalawo1. Hello, I'm a bit obsessed with the relationship between Will and Moira. In your headcanon, has Moira ever attempted to explain / apologize to Will? So, apologize is the wrong word. Rationalize is better.
Clean, exactly.
And you'll see it.
Yes.
She is.
She is steadfast.
She will dig in her heels.
Mm-hmm. Whether it's.
Speaking of your own worst enemy.
Oh, that's true. That's very true. Whether it's right or wrong or she realizes it later, she's a very prideful woman.
Mm-hmm. I love Moira Queen. That does not mean I'm going to be sympathetic to Moira Queen.
No, and she
doesn't deserve it. She's a great amoral character with a tremendous number of failings that are fun to play with and explore, both as a viewer and as a writer. And I love her to bits and pieces. She's not a good person. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be foolhardy to try and paint her that way. I don't intend to. She's very human. She messes up, but she has ego and pride that get in the way of her ever admitting that. And it creates bigger problems because she's Greek mythology. She's hubris in human form. That's a problem that will get a whole lot worse before it starts taking painstaking steps towards getting better.
Which is awesome in a lot of ways because we were robbed of that in the show.
Yes, we were.
She was murdered, and so a lot of that stuff never ever came up, which sucks because it would have been amazing to see these dynamics on this show. But that's what it is.
Yeah. So we got through a dozen of our 19 asks. It's pretty good.
It's really good. That's
so
better than I thought we would do. We're still under an hour.
I know. That's why I'm calling it. We've got 7 more. Feel free to send more on top of that. We're going to post a one-shot tonight and maybe another one over either tomorrow or... Do you want to do Monday? Yeah, but it's dirty. Let's do it.
We can do the Juliet for sure.
Monday?
Yeah, do it Monday night.
Okay, so probably, don't quote me, but probably we're going to have an Olispi one. This will still sometimes happen. Not often, but sometimes. Up today, and then Juliet's Monday night, maybe Tuesday morning. We'll get at least one more video.
Yes.
With the other asks, and we want to probably just do something where we're telling you a little bit about our plans as far as Providence overall, and original writing.
And original, yeah. We still have to hash out some details.
Well, yeah, we're not going to tell you until we get it out. But we've got so much ahead of us, and I'm really excited. It's going to be on a lot of fronts. There's so much to explore.
The amazing thing is that we've just created this really fantastic symbiotic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We work so well together now. It's amazing, actually. You don't even think about it.
There's a tremendous amount of trust too, as far as I finish this, I'm going to give it to you to make it better. And I would be okay with her posting it without me even reading it after she makes changes.
I'm the same way.
And vice versa.
The same way. Because sometimes even if I send it to my beta, I get something back, I'm like, oh my god. But no, with you, it's just because we work together so long and so well.
I think that's fair.
We're on the same wavelength.
I think that's really...
I think so.
Yeah.
With 2 people writing.
Yeah.
So,
and we still don't disagree on plot points, which is amazing.
Well, it's
every now and then you're like, is that really what you want to do? And I'm like, maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, if one of us is questioning it, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
And we trust that fact. So if there's something going on or if there's something we should divert, then we trust that there's a reason behind it.
Yeah. if there's something in particular you guys want to see from us writing wise, particularly in original work, what are our strengths that you would like to see capitalized on? What subgenre of romance do you love the most?
What do you love to read? It's like it's the same. It's the old adage, you write what you love to read.
There's so much,
But
though.
there's so much. I love to read so much.
We have a couple of really great ideas, and we've talked about them a little bit as far as the hospital AU, the royalty, original verse.
The thing is, though, all of them have so much potential. And really, we just need to sit down and like really hash out
because I
what we want to
spiral into large multi-generational universes that go off on tangents with new characters, and I love.
Oh, she's got a problem with new characters.
I do.
A serious problem.
Serious problem. I can't write it.
And I'm back here on the like first 5, like trying to unravel all these intricacies, and she's over there.
But that's where I am, and you're at fully fleshing out scenes in a way that I can't do.
Well, that's true, and I never think that far in the future until I'm at the point where I feel like these guys are fully fleshed.
I know, we just like okay, we're over an hour, so we're gonna go now, and we love you
so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.